Good morning and welcome to the November session of the Disabilities and Conditions of Aging Network, trying to connect providers who work within and individuals who work within both of those communities throughout central Indiana to on a regular basis, simply to talk about what we have going on within our different parts of this world and celebrate together, communicate together, coordinate together, and hopefully serve people better in our efforts to help both the disabilities and the conditions of aging communities. And if anybody's curious about why the two are connected, it's because conditions of aging present as disabilities as we go through life. So whether it's through trauma or through aging, a disability is a disability. So that's where we'll start out. I'm Jeremy Warner with Walking Spirit. My organization provides accessible diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging assessments, consultation and training for any organization that touches the public sector. Our services are also available for private organizations. Of course, the more accessible you are, the longer your consumers can be a part of your organization and the more employees you can include in your employee base. So that's kind of the concept there. I'm going to hand it off to Tim Vermand and ask him to introduce himself.
What would you like me to say? I work with the United Methodist Church Disability Committee nationally, and there's also an Indiana branch. I just put a link in from Indiana Disability Justice that also looks at the problems with paratransit. Excellent. And transit in general in the area.
Excellent. And I want to get back to that conversation since there are so few of us at the moment, at least today. I want to go ahead and get the typical introductions and updates out of the way, and then get into that transportation conversation a little bit. It's something that I think we are probably going to continue more in December. But before I hand it off to Kendall, I'm going to go ahead and, because I always forget this, ask folks to put their contact info in the chat, and also any links related to anything upcoming that you want to be sure that I can communicate out to others in the network who weren't able to attend today. And Kendall, I will ask you to introduce yourself and say hello from Noble.
Hi, I'm Kendall Tilton. I'm here at the beautiful new Career Center, our Moving Forward Career Center. Just opened, so we're providing some programming out of here. Every Thursday at 4 o'clock, there'll be a job topic that we're discussing. And Tuesdays from 2 to 4, we'll be doing basic computer skills classes. Again, don't have to be associated with Noble to come, so people can stop on by and participate in any of those things. That's my biggest new thing right now.
Okay. Anything related to the holidays going on with you guys that we need to know about?
I guess nothing really spectacularly holiday related for us.
Okay, that's fine. Allison Weimer, would you like to say hello?
Hey, can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
No? You can?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm talking through my car. Obviously, you can see me driving. I'm on my way to work. I kind of got a late start this morning. Hi, I'm Allison Weimer. I work for the Governor's Council for People with Disabilities. Currently, we are heading into federal reporting season, so that's kind of where our minds are at right now. Is like that's like a huge thing for us. So we're really, that's like until probably the end of the year, we're going to be focusing a lot on that. But we're also I think I mentioned the last time in the last meeting, I was working on a service animal training. So I am going full steam ahead with that, and we're hoping to get some actual like in-person and virtual trainings out early next year. So that's, we're working on that, and getting RFPs out and for different grants. So that's basically what we're working on right now. It's just heavy federal reporting season right now, so it's everybody is just scrambling to get all kinds of information from what we've been doing for the past year. So
hey, Allison.
Hey.
I actually speak around the country I do a Service Animals 101 training. I'm part of the ADA National Training Centers Leader and Training Network and stuff too. So
oh wow,
if I can help with your Service Animals 101 or your training, just let me know. Happy to assist.
Yeah.
It's all tailored to each state for their laws and regs on top of all the normal stuff. So would love to connect with you on that if that'd be, of value to you guys.
yeah, shoot me an email. Yeah, it's just a Service Animals 101. I'm just doing I've been putting together a curriculum for it, and I have like a pretty extensive curriculum right now. I'm doing it in 3 parts, like a 101, like every, like, regulations in Indiana, just like overall, and then resources, and then I'm doing in the community, and then in the workplace. Because one of the things that we've noticed is just a lot of community members don't know where to get a service animal, or a lot of people don't have the resources for it, or how to self-train, or anything like that. And then on the other side of the coin, I myself have a service animal, and there's a lot of microaggressions out there, or macroaggressions. So I get a lot of people either coming up to me and directly just saying things that are really inappropriate, or trying to pet her, or just interfering a lot when she's trying to do her job. So those are the kind of things that we're trying to get out into the community, of like how to deal with that, basically. So there's like, it's like kind of an overall training, but I would love your input. That'd be so great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds fantastic. And all the hot spots, you're hitting all the hot spots, from public access to the regs to etiquette to, all the things. So I'm excited to see your curriculum, this thing that you're developing. So sorry, didn't mean to hijack there, but yeah. Very
No,
cool
not
stuff.
at all. Not at all.
That's not hijacking at all, Krista. It's what the idea behind this network is to get people to talk. So
Well,
I'm curious.
Good at that, so.
Oh, I know. So am I. Allison, before we move on, you mentioned something there in regards to that training about how to respond. So when you mentioned the training, I guess my initial thought was training for other folks on how to react to service animals, and to understand that you don't just go up and start petting a service animal when you see them in the community because they're working. But so also you're focusing on training the person on how to respond to that, so that they're not creating an uncomfortable situation by saying, "I'm sorry, my dog is working. Would you please not distract them?"
Yeah, I mean, I feel as a person with a disability, one of the things we talk about is, and especially because, you know, I feel like it really puts you out there. It makes you like it definitely makes you if you have like what they call, you know, a hidden disability, you know, it definitely like makes you seen and when you walk around, and so there's that aspect, as well as the constant barrage of questions as to having to justify why I have a service animal. So you know, well, what is she for? You know, like those kind of inappropriate questions, like, you know, what does she do? You know, those are the kinds of, and that's the tone that's taken. So like, what's her service? As if that's their right to ask. So those are the kinds of things that I want to address in the training, and how to deal with those kinds of questions, because they're really inappropriate, but also like, you know, it can be really hard to like, you don't want to come at the person like angrily, and you don't always want to be like mad and grumpy, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so to like do that in a graceful way, but not in a way where you're you know, feeling like you always have to disclose your disability to everybody.
Right. And go ahead, Krista.
Sorry. Well, and I hate to be that guy, but I got to be that guy. So they are allowed to ask that legally, with the tone, you know, in context, semantics, you know, are one thing, but, you know, as far as, you know, places, they can legally only ask two questions. Is this a service animal needed for a disability? What task has the service animal been trained to perform? That's it. They're not allowed to ask about the disability. They're not allowed to ask for documentation. They're not allowed to ask for, you know, identification, certification. They're not allowed to ask for the animal to perform the task that you've just told them that they've been trained to perform. So, you know, to be able to advocate for yourself, you know, and inform others so they can advocate for themselves, you know, appropriately, especially in those public access, you know, issues, you know, outside of employment and the ADA and all, or, well, it's still ADA applicable, but, you know, they are allowed to ask, but how they ask goes a long way too, because if they're coming to you from a perspective of like, it's a fake service animal, this is fraudulent, you're, you know, trying to buck the system, or, you know, allow access for an emotional support animal, a therapy dog, another working animal, or your pet, you know, that's different. So I'm definitely going to be updating myself on the Indiana specific you know, laws and regs and how that impacts. But I hate that you're having that experience, you know, with folks being unkind and unpleasant and inappropriate and stuff too.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not talking about businesses. I'm talking about just people, the general public, like people, you know, just regular general public coming up to me. And this happens at least 20 times a day. Will come up to me and ask me what her service is, or tell her that when she's doing a task, that she's a good dog. So they interfere and
absolutely.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that are really inappropriate, and those are the kinds of things that I would like to address in the training. Because I know I'm not the only one that's dealing with that. No. So that's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to share some stuff with you. I have a great video too from Moss therapies on service animal etiquette and that interference piece that you're talking about, and exactly that, and people trying to interact and all that, because that's a real problem for the service handler community and service animal team, community. So yeah, no, you're spot on.
Yeah, and especially when your dog is, I mean, look at her. She's so cute.
Oh,
when they're very cute, and everybody wants to pet them, that can be a real problem. So, and everybody wants to pet Apple. So that's.
Oh my gosh, and then you gave it a cute name on top of it.
I know.
Apple.
I'm assuming that she doesn't wear anything that says service animal.
She has a badge
that
she wears. But it really interferes I was gonna get her a bandana, sorry.
Okay.
Word retrieval. But the vest interferes with her tasking.
Sure.
So I can't have her, I need her to be able to do her job. Oh my gosh, where is it?
Well, and that's a good point too, because also the leash. So, the service animal doesn't have to be leashed in a public setting but they do have to be under the handler's control if the leash would interfere with the dog's ability to perform the task or the person with the disability's ability to control the animal. So, that's another, good point there. But on the flip side of that, the ADA doesn't require any form of identification either. It's not required under the law. That's part of what feeds into the fake service animal industry is the badges, the IDs, the vests and all that, where anybody can just go online and order this thing, put it on their dog and parade around like they are a service animal and they're not. So it's like this slippery slope we keep coming up against in this community, with all this. And then depending on state laws and regs, how they're feeding into it too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's so a regular service animal, this is what a service animal looks like when they're walking next to you.
Yep.
So I don't really need the leash at all, but it's for to keep up appearances, I guess. But other things is she can go up escalators. I'm going up an escalator right now.
Oh, wow.
Different things like that. So, there's things that service animals can do that, a fake service animal wouldn't be able to do. And that's kind of stuff I want to go over in the training. They're trained to do tasks, things that like a pet would be terrified to do. So, yeah.
Well,
anyway,
you then inspired me to go look, so I had to look. So this is an advocacy issue in Indiana. Indiana doesn't have a service animal fraud law on the books right now. A lot of states do, and Indiana is one that doesn't. So that's something that can be, brought to the legislator to get laws put in place for service animal fraud, to protect the public and protect the disability community and service animal teams in public access employment, in independent living, housing, travel. There's so many things that impact folks that have service animals, too. So I think this could be something interesting for IRA or Indiana APSI or another group to take on.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern with my only concern with that is I want to make sure that if there's any law that is being put into place with legislators, that they understand that there's no certification needed where people have to pay for the training, because one of the things where our community members are really struggling is they can't afford these really expensive service dogs, and they need them. So that's self-training is a huge lifeline for a lot of our community members. So that's the only thing that my major concern with like putting in a law for a, you know, like a certified service animal, is that there would be like
No,
a stipulation for self-training.
They don't have to be certified because that's illegal. Under the ADA, there is no certification, registration, or anything like that for a service animal to be under the ADA. So they shouldn't be imposing anything like that. Some states have done that on a voluntary basis. Again, there's some advocacy issues and slippery slopes with some civil rights departments in some certain states. But the purpose of the service animal fraud legislation is to deter people from engaging in, you know, the fake service animal,
right,
you know, industry, and, you know, of course, the public access and the other issues. So yeah, it wouldn't be on that side of it because, you know, their certification and registration doesn't exist under the ADA.
Right. Yeah.
Be able to supersede that, but you guys also have some really interesting verbiage in there too. It's just, yeah, it's always interesting state to state. So thank you for turning me on to the Indiana service animal stuff, because, you know, that's one that I hadn't done yet. So
I want to jump in real quick and one, Allison, thank you for sharing that with us while you were both driving and walking and getting to what appears to now be a place where you were stable. And next time I do that to you, just feel free to say, hey, I'm driving, and I can jump in about 10-15 minutes.
It's totally fine. Actually, I mean, I got to demonstrate what she does. So
that was actually really cool. I also noticed that Kate Barrow had a hand up. And so Kate, I know you're also with the GCPD, but go ahead and introduce yourself and then address why your hand is up. So,
thank you. I wanted
jump
to jump in on that. Allison is, and yes, Allison, please, anytime you're driving, drive first. as your co-worker and boss, please drive first and be safe. The demonstration was great, and I think that could be something that is part of a training. On the public policy piece, I think the way the council would kind of perceive that work is to first do some really intensive trainings, not only for people with developmental disabilities, which is our primary focus, but also our community members to build capacity around that issue. And then work within our council to develop those public policy statements and platform so that when we get to legislation, we have the built-in support for it, and we are ensuring that our legislators are well versed and educated on ADA accommodations, and that we have support, of course, from other agencies that help enforce ADA. So we have, you know, the Civil Rights Commission, we have Indiana Disability Rights. So it does take, I think that would be the trajectory, the long-term trajectory following these trainings that Allison is talking about doing. So I wanted to throw that in there because I think together these kinds of conversations are so important to have. And I know the council in the past has done some small trainings on the rights of folks with service animals and what to do, what not to do, etiquette and whatnot. So it's all kind of coming together really nicely. I did not introduce myself. I missed that entirely. I am so sorry. It feels like another Monday to me today. My name's Kate Barrow. I'm the executive director for the Indiana Governor's Council for People with Disabilities. Mostly sitting in on this call because I haven't had a chance until now to listen. And so I'm going to be mostly in listen mode while you all talk. But I also wanted to share that there are some upcoming events that our national organization and the Administration on Community Living, our federal funders, are putting forth to address the needs of people with developmental disabilities and conditions of aging. So I'm going to kind of pull some of that information from our network and put it in the chat. One of the initiatives that that ACL is really focusing on still is vaccines, all vaccines, not just COVID, for caregivers of people with developmental disabilities who are aging. Just because we are still seeing some discrepancies in that area, and as well want to make sure that folks are protected and able to advocate what their expectations are for a caregiver. So I'll find that and stick it in the chat, knowing that there's always controversy around vaccines, but it's just information sharing. And I'm going to go off camera and mute so I can continue to listen.
It's absolutely fine. Although I was going to ask, and I know this is just my weird twisted humor. Are you aware of people that are not aging?
So the of course, you know, the definition is that we are all aging, right? We all are aging from the time we are born. I think where this focus is for ACL is really looking at those who are age 65 and older, and experiencing more of those transitions into that phase of life. So there's that too. So there's some excellent work being done in that area at the federal level. So very exciting. But yes, we're all aging.
Okay.
I don't know anybody who isn't. And if I meet somebody, I'm going to ask them how they figured that out. Although I feel like I'm kind of enjoying getting older.
It's important.
The wisdom that comes with that, the life experience, certainly a little bit more financial stability after college is great. So
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, that's, like I said, just my twisted sense of humor. I heard that phrased and I just, for a moment, I was like, wait a minute. we're all aging. So, yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm glad to have you join us today. Especially when we're on an off week. Typically we're on the fourth Thursday of the month. And so a little bit lower attendance today. Thank you also for the impromptu conversation about service animals. And I would say if we get to a point where it is time to reach out to legislators about adopting a service animal fraud legislation, because I do think that having something in place that allows us to actually look at that and say, no, you can't represent your animal as a service animal if they're not trained, kind of thing, would be nice to have that tool. So if we get there and a letter needs to be written or whatever to support that motion or that movement, please let me know. I would be happy to write a letter in regards to that on behalf of the network. So, but that said, I think we should have more conversations about that in the future. We did intend to have a conversation about transportation, and I had, again, with the short month or the short period in between meetings, I had reached out to the MAC. I didn't have time to reach out to really anybody else. And so we're going to continue digging in on that, but our own Kendall Tilton is a member of the MAC. And so if, when you first joined on, you heard a little bit of a conversation between us and Tim Vermand about that, I kind of wanted to get back to that for a minute. And Kendall, you had me sharing or pulling up the actual link for the MAC on let's see here. I'm going to share it again on my computer.
Yeah.
So
that's in the chat if you guys want to get to, or you can just type, I think it is the thing that comes up if you type MAC Indigo. So yeah, there's nothing mysterious about the advisory committee. It is a group of 11 people. It's representing riders of both paratransit and the regular buses, and employers and providers. So coming together to advocate with the people at the paratransit and also the fixed route staff. We meet every other month, and basically we get to have a little input on policy, a little bit input on accessibility, and so we also get updates. So we get to talk directly to the management of both of those services. So, and actually it's combined into one person right now. But anybody can come. So there's a place to log on. There'll be a schedule, obviously. Not don't have the 2024 schedule up yet, but it will be.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
link
ask,
is gonna be the same.
do you know when would it be the January or February meet? Be January.
January.
Yeah. Do you know when the
There-
January meeting will be?
I do not.
Okay. But it'll be
I-
on this
I have
page.
I have a strong guess, but it also has some problematic timing issues.
Okay. But that would be on this page at some point in January,
Yes.
between now and January.
Well, I'm
where-
hoping in December.
Okay. With the Zoom link and all that, like yesterday's is here. So yeah, it looks like your last meeting
Yes.
was yesterday. So,
It was.
okay.
Yep, last night.
So, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot today, but, is there anything else on this website, on this page, that you want me to show? My screen
No,
being,
that's really it. Just if you are interested in becoming a member, the term limits are very strict. So there is turnover constantly from all of the categories. So there's always, I think every year there will be somebody that needed to be a new writer representative, a new employer representative, and a new agency representative pretty much every year. So
is that something,
if
are
you
you guys
wanted to
in
be-
the process of looking for new membership now?
we have, yes, there is one person, and I believe he's listed as a writer who expires in January.
Okay.
So his term is up in January, so he has to be replaced. There are interviews taking place of some people that have applied already. But I don't know when the next person's term expires, but it's not like everybody expires in January.
Right.
It's when you came on and then 2 years.
So you were saying if somebody wanted to be a member, so what's the process of applying for that if somebody wanted to join?
There's an email address on there. You just send an email.
Oh, that's on the website, on that page?
It
that we
is,
were on?
yeah.
Okay.
That's all right there. It's not,
Okay. Do you need me to pull that up again, or?
unless anybody else wants to see it, it was right, it was on there. And the link's there, so it won't be hard to get to. So I encourage anybody that has interest in expressing their opinion on transportation to Indigo, to the management.
Right.
Absolutely, this is an opportunity. Their board meetings are open as well.
Oh, there we are. Mac application right there.
Yep.
So, all right. And you said that,
Can you
I'm sorry,
post
you
that in
said,
the chat?
so the link is in the chat, for that
Did I
web
miss it?
page. Yeah, it's all the way up at the top of the chat from the very beginning. So, yeah.
Mm,
Okay. Tim, any questions there?
No, I have that site open now.
Okay, excellent. I do want to continue that paratransit conversation. So yeah, Kendall, if you would have a contact there that I could reach out to talk about having a conversation, maybe even pushing it off till January, till we're back on a normal week and we can get more folks in, because I feel like that's still both that and the service animal conversations are things that I would like to have a broader audience for.
I think I emailed you with a good contact.
Okay. Was
We
that
did
the
find
person?
out last night she's just been promoted, so
Okay, cool. Was that the person you had copied on the last email communication we had, or is that somebody
yeah.
else?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So hopefully we'll have, and she's pretty good about coming. She has done some presentations for us.
Cool.
Actually, we meet quarterly at Noble about Noble's transportation issues.
Okay. Very good.
So good people to work with.
All right. Okay. Well, so with the last like 15 minutes before we go, and we can definitely go early. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up, anything that they want to add? And as we look at December, do we have a meeting in December on the third Thursday, or do we meet at a different time, or do we not meet in December?
So we bumped up the showcase to the 14th from the third Thursday to the second Thursday because of the holiday. So, I mean, I'm game. I'll be in town. If anybody wants to come to the Indianapolis Disability Talent Showcase and see me in person at accessABILITY's conference center, they're going to be the host for the new hybrid meetings going into next year. So I will be there in the flesh in Indy with bells on Thursday, December 14th at 1 p.m. So I don't know if you want to tag on the 10 a.m. that day, Jeremy. That's up to you, but that's just what we did.
Well, and I mean, honestly, we could still do the fourth Thursday of December, because that's December 28th. Is anybody back? I mean, I would probably leave it and not do it, but
I'll be on PTO.
Are you? Okay.
So
Me too.
yeah.
And that was kind of my thought. So, I mean, we could do December 14th in the morning, and then, yeah, Krista, we could have brunch, and you and we could do the meeting from someplace where we're having brunch.
Yeah, maybe I can meet you at 10, and then we'll go, we'll go to accessibility at 1 or whatever. I don't know what the
You're
what
welcome
it
to come
looks
here.
like.
Oh,
I know, Kendall, you are so awesome. Seriously, like I'm so grateful for that offer. And like I said, you are definitely backup. And we so appreciate that. I mean, we were struggling there trying to figure out what we were going to do when Easterseals Crossroads could no longer host, hybridly. And, we really are having a lot of success. We're seeing placements for folks, connections and relationships being made. And so we just want to keep that up.
I only found out this morning that it wasn't going to be at Crossroads anymore. That's why
Yeah, well, thanks to Jeremy. Jeremy, reached out. He got a special shout out in the last email. But if you don't care, Jeremy, while we still focus on, I've got like a little video I'd like to show on the etiquette. It's the one that I use the most in presentations. It's only a minute and a half.
sure.
But it's fun, and I do love Seamus. And I think Allison and Kate will appreciate this, but I do need to be able to share.
Oh, how do I do that?
You can make me a co-host or just give me the ability to share, and it'll let me
allow? How do I give you the ability to share?
I think you can like click on the 3 dots next to my name and the participants and make me a co-host, or you can just enable sharing for all, attendees, which is also, I think, a triple dot option or down
somewhere
in the settings or something.
Screen sharing, come on. Here. Okay, well, I'm just gonna make you host because I'm not finding the allow. You used to be able to find that. So there you go. Now we'll let you
All
share.
right. Okay. Here we. Yeah. So should see this. Let's go full screen here. Get this out of the way. But this is just a really really just nails it in a 90 seconds. So disability etiquette gone wrong, service dogs. They have a series of these disability etiquette gone wrongs that I use in a variety of like disability etiquette 101 trainings and things like that. But this is the one I included my service animals. Can you hear
My name is Carolyn Cassini. I'm a physical therapist on the Drucker Brain Injury Program at Moss Rehab. And this is Seamus. He is our facility dog and service dog that works with us at Moss Rehab. We're going to talk to you today about disability etiquette gone wrong. As a service dog and a facility dog, Seamus is trained with a lot of commands to help someone become more independent in their life. These things include pushing buttons to open doors, pulling doors open, putting objects up on a counter or taking them off a counter, and picking things up off the ground if someone dropped it and can't pick it up themselves. But what Seamus can't do is two things at once. He's not able to help me or the patient that I'm working with when he's being distracted.
You are smart. What is your name? Oh, I would love to have you at home with me.
It's really important that when he's working, he's able to maintain his attention on me and that other people don't make noises, call for him, or try and touch him. For Seamus and I, disability etiquette means not distracting service dogs while they're working with their handler or if they're working with a patient. Even though they're really cute and you want to pet them, you have to fight the urge.
All right.
Now you're done.
So yeah, so that's Seamus, and I love that video, and like I said, I think it really, surmises it, really well. He can do a good job, but he can't do two things at once. And for those of you who believe in multitasking, it doesn't exist. You're just really good at switching your attention from one thing to another quickly, but you cannot attend to both things at the same time. So there's your cognitive psych lesson too, on top of it. But hopefully that was enjoyable.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Any other comments in the last 10 minutes, or do folks want 10 minutes of their day back? I got a smile from Kendall on that one. So, okay. In that case, I will let you all go. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I will probably shoot for December 14th, just so we still have a consistent meeting and touch base, and then if you can make it, great. And yeah, Krista, if you want to talk about us getting together somewhere and having brunch while we do this meeting, that would be fine too. So
yeah, absolutely. And I'll be staying at the same place there, in
okay.
Indy. Yeah, same
Excellent.
place, same bat channel,
Not far away. Okay, we'll communicate about that. Cool. Oh, okay, very good.
Oh, bless your hearts.
Yes, sorry, GCPD's letting me know that they're very busy with the federal reports. So, is there anything that you guys need from any of the providers that are on today in regards to that? I'm going to say no, but
I'd love to say no. However, I think we are going to be opening up our council meetings. They are public meetings to begin with, but we do want to invite community stakeholders to be present. So we've been working on a separate location that is not the government center to be able to host these. And we want to encourage, it's a learning space, so there'll be training that will be provided with the council meetings. We'll definitely make sure that this group gets a copy of the agenda with the location. And we're also going to be working on collecting stories of community members. I think especially for folks with developmental disabilities, because that is, again, our primary focus.
right.
you know, what is it like to be a Hoosier with developmental disabilities and is in that phase of life where if they're 65 or older and kind of experiencing that phase. And so I think we'll be getting out some additional information on how we're going to collect those stories shortly. But I'd love to be able to kind of connect with each of you and talk more about what we're doing at the council and see where there's possibilities for us to provide trainings in your communities.
Very good. Are you, and I know you said you'll be getting out how to collect those stories, but are you looking at doing anything via social media so that people can
It'll be a combination.
go
Yeah.
on there? Okay.
I think what we're really looking for is one, our federal funders really appreciate the representation from diverse cultures and linguistic communities. So not just our typical folks who are accessing services right now through the service delivery system, but even beyond that. It is National Caregiver Month. So we have a lot of folks who have either formal or informal caregivers, through a service delivery system or family supports. And so raising awareness about that lived experience as well, and how relationships, both relationships that are working well and relationships that are not working that great, collecting that information and being able to say, like, the dynamics in these relationships are very different. So how can we support the individuals who are in those types of relationships where they may need additional support? So it's going to be kind of a multifaceted approach to story collection, but definitely keep an eye out for some social media. I'm hoping to launch a whole project around storytelling and collection of stories. So that will come out probably in 2024 as well.
Okay. And in regards to reaching diverse populations, and unfortunately they're not here today, but on past meetings, especially the last several months, there's been somebody from the Immigrant Welcome Center who's regularly been here. So if you needed connection with them, let me know. So
I would love an introduction. I think that's something that we've talked a lot about. Let's talk more separately, but love to have an introduction. So
absolutely. So
right.
Excellent. All right. Well, then instead of 10, you guys get back 6 minutes. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, Thanksgiving, until I see you next, hopefully December 14th. All right.
Thank you.
Be well.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.